the digital control grid. And I kept telling them, there's no way. There's no like going to Switzerland and getting away from this. If you don't push back and stop it, we're all going to be slaves. We're dealing with a central bank reset. And this reset, the central banks reset the system every sort of 80 to 120 years is my read of things. And we're in what they got together in 2018 and looked at a plan from a group of central bankers working through the BlackRock Institute called Going Direct. And if you come to Solaire, we have a great deal of information about the Going Direct reset. And so we're going to reset, but this reset is different than all the other resets, and I'll tell you why. It's very important. This reset, because of digital technology, they can literally end currency and implement a financial control grid, which is the equivalent of slavery. It's, if you look at why they canceled the African slave trade, it solves all the problems they had then that caused them to cancel it. And slavery, we know historically, is the most profitable business. So this gives them the ability to literally implement a complete control grid. And so it's the end of currency. And we've never seen that before. You know, resets, changes, flushes, moves the currency. But now we're talking about ending currency as we know it. It's quite remarkable. In other words, we are evolving from a central banking warfare model, you know, with markets and capitalism, to a control grid that basically turns the, you know, I use Whitney Webb's word, it turns the planet into a panopticon.
Right.
It's a prison. So we go from a status of human to a status of slave.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, basically, you're looking at mega rich versus everyone else. And mega rich is looking at this situation and saying, we want total central control. And so we want a slavery system. There'll be plenty of mind control because slaves who don't know they're slaves are more profitable. But if you look at the system, it's designed to basically extract as much value from each person. So no one has any rights and nobody has any right to, we have no human rights and no property rights.
You own nothing and you've never been happier. It's right. The WEF plan, right?
Right. So first of all, you got to see the game. And the reality is the things that are destroying your city, you know, are centrally organized and controlled. And if you want to push back on the third rail, you've got to bring transparency to that, and you've got to deal with that and not get ping pong back and forth in the uniparty game. It's a real competition in the uniparty, and that is who gets the right to grift and steal this year.
Well, I thought it was very interesting that, for example, that Trump, and so did Biden, by the way, classified anti-capitalism as a political, pre-crime.
Trump is going to jail. If that's a crime, Trump's going to jail. Yeah. I've never met a more anti-capitalist. He is our most anti-capitalist president yet.
Like, is it his opinion? Is that what he believes?
Let's go back to the mega rich versus everything else. You have Bibi Netanyahu running all over the Middle East, according to Tucker Carlson, telling people that he controls America.
Yeah, that's not new. Yeah.
Right. So I think if you look at the syndicate that's doing Gaza, they see Gaza as near success, and they're ready to do Europe and the United States. And you've got to get a digital ID, you've got to get programmable money, and you've got to get enough shredding of the Constitution so that you're free to rock and roll. So if you want to bring Gaza to America, it's digital ID, programmable money, and compromise of the constitutional protections on due process. And First Amendment, Second Amendment, you're trying to shred the Constitution, and you're trying to get the MAGA group to support you in doing that. We always come through one of the elections, and people get their hopes up about things which are not, they get false hopes, and they don't want to let it go because it makes life unbearable if they have to give up their false hope.
Yeah.
And so you get a false hope that someone in the White House here's the thing. that machinery is centralized and controlled. The reason that Solari has invested so much time and effort in working with the states is because there's still more latitude at the states, and the states have lots of power under the Constitution. And that's why Israel just took 250 state legislators,
Right.
to Israel. Now they're working the states too. So there is something that can still be done. And, part of getting people distracted by the uniparty at the federal level is you want to keep them on the couch and entertained and away from pushing back on the third rail. Okay.
Right. Circuses, yeah.
Right. So here's the thing. If we want to have a revolution tomorrow, imagine by the end of the year if we could get 50% of the people in the country using cash.
Mm-hmm.
You can't implement a digital control grid. Let's say everybody in Tennessee and the states where you can do this, 45 states, goes back into their DMV and says, I don't want a real ID on my license. Either I don't travel internationally or I'll get a passport, or I don't fly, I'll get a passport. And 50% using cash, and not only using cash, but using that cash to buy fresh, nutritious food that makes them strong and vital and healthy
From the local farm.
on the local farm, and finding the local health practitioners that they can trust so they don't go to the hospital and get euthanized, unexpectedly. So there's a great deal we can do, and it's that if we see clearly this is the mega rich versus everyone else, forget Donald Trump. If we made Ryan Christian the president of the United States, you would find yourself in the Oval Office with basically guns pointed at your head, that if you don't help the criminal syndicate, you'll be shot or your family will be shot, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's not a solution.
Right.
And it's not, if you went into the Oval Office tomorrow and your hands were tied, I would still love you because you're great, right? But
Thank you.
you can't. It doesn't matter how much I like Ryan Christian. There's nothing he can do.
There's other ways to make a difference and change things than going through the broken political system.
Well, but here's the thing: we control. If we push back on the third rail, they can't implement the digital control grid.
I agree.
That's the little secret here. Don't get lost in the theater. We have the power to change this.
100%. And
Yeah,
I really do think.
but you have to get back. You got to get off the couch,
Mhm.
and you have to start using cash, and you have to say, I'm going to make sure my family is healthy and my family is well. And you got to do those things. You got to take responsibility to learn about food and learn about health and let go of the old system.
We can absolutely do something about this, and I really do believe that.
Walk out of the theater and start living.
Exactly.
Walk out of the theaters. If you stay in the theater, we're doomed. If you walk out of the theater and start, building the world we want to live in, we're fine.